Hey everybody, I wanted to say thank you so much to one of our amazing sponsors, Copan Restaurant and Truckstop. Listen, are you looking for some down-home cooking? You have found your spot. Copan Restaurant and Truckstop. All you can eat catfish starting at 4:30 every single Wednesday. And on Friday and Saturday, they've got prime rib specials. I mean, they've got it all. Desserts, pies, everything you could ever want. Cinnamon rolls. Oh my word, this place is amazing. I'm telling you, check them out. 7440 US Highway 75 in Copan, Oklahoma. Or give them a call at 918-532-4666. That's 918-532-4666. You can also check them out on Facebook at Copan Restaurant and Truckstop. You're not going to be disappointed. Amazing down-home cooking. Copan Restaurant and Truckstop. Welcome back to the podcast, Mr. Lucas Nettles. How in the world are you doing?
Doing well. I was just saying we're busy, but it's a busy time of year, and we got business goals, growth goals, family activities with birthdays and holidays, and
the holidays are on the docket.
Yeah, and
next week
church
gets
stuff.
cold.
I'm hoping that'd be great. We're
In
in
the
this
40s.
limbo phase where
It's still 90.
Yeah.
Still 90 today, and ridiculously hot. But next week lows are in the 40s.
Yeah, that'll be nice.
And so I'm excited. So church is going well.
Yeah. Between work, family, and church, it's a busy season. But
yes,
but that's not a bad thing,
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't let busyness, keep you from focusing on the right things.
Come
on, it's a good thing. It's good to have work to do.
Love it. Yes. Yeah. It's fantastic. Okay. So one of the things that I put out on social media was talking about, should I put together a podcast regarding anxiety and depression and how to handle it through the holidays? Because a lot of people, we get excited for the holidays, right?
Right.
But there are folks get overly stressed, overly freaked out, overly worried because, crud, I got to buy X, Y, and Z for this person, this person. I got to go to this thing. And we become, rather than enjoying what is before us, we just, it's a horrible season. Yeah. How can we enjoy the holidays without overextending the bank? You guys, you are, what's your official title at Revo Financial?
So I'm just a financial planner, personal financial planner.
Okay, so you're my personal financial planner, but this is the idea of you coming on the podcast to help us navigate how to not break the bank and still enjoy the holidays, enjoy fellowship, being able to give gifts, be generous, but not put yourself in the red.
Right.
So tell us how that works.
I think, to start off with, I think we need to recognize that holiday spending deserves attention.
Yep.
We live in a society that's filled with competing ideals about how you should celebrate holidays, whether it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or even Reformation Day, Halloween. This society puts a lot of pressure on individuals to do certain things. Otherwise, you're not doing it right. You're not celebrating right.
Yep.
And there's always a tension between the idea of being generous, but also not putting yourself in financial strain. An example of that is, I can think of specifically, everybody wants to set their children up for success, whether that means going to college or, helping them start a business.
Yep.
But at the same time, you want to prepare them and not, sacrifice everything on your financial situation in order to do so. You want to set them up, but you also want to maintain provision for your family. Yeah. So there's a natural tension there. You want to be generous. You want to do the right thing. God calls us to leave an inheritance, but actually navigating what that looks like, there's a tension there. And that's not even to say anything about emotional and cultural pressure. You mentioned being generous. And often we have a misunderstanding of what generosity is.
Yep.
We think, oh, well, if I spend a certain amount of dollars on a person, then that means I love them. That means I'm generous. But that's just an example of the tension that exists. And I think the first thing we have to address is what is the biblical principle behind generosity, behind stewardship. I think all of us, I have some notes here because I juggle so many things, but stewardship is managing God's resources wisely for his glory. And we see that example in 1 Corinthians 4:2, where it says, moreover, it is required of stewards that they be found faithful. So we have to filter everything through that principle.
Yes.
Everything that we do from a financial standpoint, we need to be good stewards, be faithful, and give God glory. And so naturally, the question is, what does faithfulness look like when it comes to finances, when it comes to generosity, when it comes to celebrating holidays? Because I think God blesses us to provide for our family, to provide for us individually, but he also blesses us to be a blessing. And it's not just finances, right? Time, talent, treasure.
Listen, I want to say thanks to one of our amazing new sponsors, Outpost Coffee, for providing us with amazing caffeinated beverages. Listen, the holiday season is here, fall is here, and all the appropriate flavors that you want for the holiday season are at Outpost. Listen, check out outpostcoffeeco.com. You can get bags of beans shipped to you. If you're in town, you just step right through the doors and you pick up your favorite cup of whatever you like. I personally like a vanilla breve. But it tastes amazing. It's like Christmas in a cup. I love it. But if you're a pumpkin spice person, man, they got that. The white chocolate, whatever. If you just listen, Caleb, all I want is a black cup of coffee. Fantastic. They got that too. Check them out at outpostcoffeeco.com.
So that's kind of the question that I ask myself. What does faithfulness look like in my celebration of the holidays, in my giving?
I think that can somewhat shift and change based on the individual, what faithfulness looks like. But the idea, as I was a young man, I was, I couldn't wait for Christmas morning because I would get the gifts, right? And I was excited for that. And I think of that biblical idea. When I was a child, I thought like a child, right? And so as I've gotten older, gifts are not the thing that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get the gifts.
Right.
I'm looking forward to getting people around, getting around the table, eating good food together, fellowshipping, telling good stories, laughing, and that to me is the success of a good holiday. Rather than, and we shifted several years ago from getting things. Although we still sometimes get the kids stuff, right? But I would rather do experiences. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be super expensive. It could just be like, hey, we're going to see Christmas lights on this, or we're going to go to look at this. Now, sometimes that does cost money to do that, but the average family just puts themselves in a massive amount of debt to buy some sort of Chinese plastic thing that's going to be broken. And just, it's ridiculous. Like I just saw Josh Eaton at Walmart the other day, which that's where we met. It's so funny, but that's a different story for a different day. But he said, I told my kids a long time ago, we're not buying toys from Walmart anymore. They'll be broken by Christmas afternoon. Right. And it's just, that's the truth. And we invest all this, and it's the joy of the moment of ripping it open, and then they throw it away. Right. And if you have little kids, what's hilarious is that they'll play with the box. Right. Yeah. More than they'll play with the toy. Right. So, yeah. Hey, my friends, wanted to come to you and talk about one of our amazing sponsors, Precision Lawn and Landscaping of Bartlesville. Start planning your festive home decor right now. The time is almost here. The holidays are going to be here. And listen, trying to get your Christmas lights hung up on your house can sometimes just be a chore, and you might need some help. Brandon and his crew can help you out. You can get a free quote today. Give them a call at 918-766-1549. That's 918-766-1549. Precision Lawn and Landscaping of Bartlesville. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, so I think you're kind of leading into the next thing I have on my mind is the spending trap. Yeah. Right. we have these influences like marketing, like social media, where we run the risk of comparing ourselves.
Yes.
You're not being generous with your kids unless you get them this toy.
Come on.
You're not celebrating Christmas unless you have all these matching pajamas, and you have
Photo
the
shoots,
whole decoration and all the things.
Yeah.
And that's the real dangerous comparison,
Yeah.
right? Stewardship requires you to be faithful, but the definition of stewardship and the definition of generosity or right celebration is not dependent on what somebody else's holiday looks like.
Yeah.
And then there's the emotional side. Are you spending? Are you buying because you feel guilty? I mean, that's an examination we ought to do. Like, if you are not generous with your children, with your family, with your loved ones, with others throughout the year, are you trying to make up for it in the holiday season? Because that's the wrong motivation.
Yeah.
Or obligation, tradition. Traditions are great, but I think we need to filter all things through that initial purpose of stewardship and being faithful. And then we'd already mentioned, but the myth that how much you spend equals how much you love someone.
Come on.
In reality, if we love someone, there's no dollar amount that's going to represent that correctly.
That's right.
Or accurately. And even if you have multiple children or you're giving to multiple organizations, it's unreasonable to say that if I spend the exact same dollar amount on everyone, or even to expect to do that, right? Like, it's just unreasonable to think that you can accomplish that, because everybody, like as far as kids, everybody has different interests, likes different things. So I think what we see is that, as the Bible says, we're not to conform ourselves to the world's example.
Yep.
Romans 12:2.
Yep.
Do not be conformed to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Or even Hebrews 13, 5, keep your lives free from the love of money.
Yes.
Be content with what you have.
And I want people to see that, because here's it's the love of money,
Right?
That is money, because what will tend to happen is people go, well, see, money's bad,
Right?
Well, no, the love of money. And so with the idea of the love, when you break that word down in that phrase, it's this consuming fire that you sacrifice everything to get the money.
Right.
You sacrifice your soul ultimately to get cash, and it's gone that fast.
Yeah, money is a tool. It's amoral, meaning it's not morally bad or morally good. It's how you use it that determines whether it's good or not. I always say that if you want to know what's important to someone, see what they're spending their money on.
Yes.
Because if you're using your heart, and most people do, to direct where they spend their money, and this applies not just to money, but time, then that reveals what's truly important. So, another question that we ought to ask ourselves is, how can we guard our heart against the comparison game, against the dangers of consumerism? That what makes a good holiday season is how much you buy and how much you consume. So practically speaking, I mean, that's the reason I'm here, right? To give some practical advice, some practical tips. Budgeting. Everybody hates budgeting, primarily because we see it as a restriction.
It really,
But some practical tips. So we're talking about this holiday season. It's October. We got Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up. A worthwhile thing to do is to look at what you spent last year. Like, budgeting starts with trying to establish what your habits are and your reality is. And so looking at last year's spending and even breaking it down by categories, this much on party related things or get together related things, this much on decorations, this much on gifts, this much on charitable giving, like understanding what you did last year, and then having a conversation and say, is this what we meant to do last year? Or was this feasible last year? And you're looking at cash flow, you're looking at numbers, but at the end of the day, you need to right size your spending to be a good steward, because if you're spending beyond that, then you're not stewarding the resources well, and you're just putting yourself in a bad situation to start the next year off, right? When January rolls around and those credit card bills come, now you've already started on the wrong foot. So looking at what you spent last year is a good practical step. Making sure that it matches what your intention was. That's the benefit of a budget, is not that it restricts, but that you're aware of your spending.
Come on.
And most of us want to live in ignorance, because if we don't look at it, it can't hurt us, right?
Well, I mean, when I sat down with you,
Right.
and Jamie and I worked our financial plan out with you guys, we started seeing the things that we were spending our money on, and I was like, that's hundreds of dollars for something that I'm not going to... It's gone within 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Just eating out and
right.
drinking a coffee outside of, like, rather than just making one here.
Right.
And that's not saying that we don't occasionally splurge and enjoy something like that. But man, if you're doing that every single day,
right,
or you're doing it multiple times a week, is that a good steward of what God's given me?
Sure.
And I don't, the more we thought about it, I don't think it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bad idea. And the same can be said for buying Christmas gifts for people, because I love how you put that in there, because there's so many times during the year we don't spend time with our kids. We don't fellowship. We just shove them off with a screen, or put them in their room, or they've been at daycare, or whatever happens so we do feel that overwhelming sense of guilt, and we have that overwhelming sense of shame. And so what do? We go, okay, how can I alleviate this feeling in me?
Right. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy them all the stuff.
Yeah.
And they're going to have this joy, and they're going to be like, Mom and Dad really do love me.
Right.
They've ignored me all year.
Right. Right.
but they do love me. They gave me stuff.
Time is here.
Right. And so
yeah,
the things that I look back on as a kid, I don't remember any of the toys that my dad bought me or my mom bought me.
Right.
What I remember was, like, the fun things that we did on Christmas Eve, or the day before Christmas Eve, where my dad would give me and my brother $100 each. Mm-hmm. And the goal was, or he said, you cannot spend it on yourself.
Right.
You must spend that $100 on your brother or your mother.
Yeah. Yeah, we've done something similar with our little kids. I have 5 kids, ages 1 to 10.
Yep.
And they don't earn money on their own. Sure. But we do want to teach the principle of generosity and giving. And so one of the things we do during the Christmas season is each one of them we go to the dollar store, or the, Five Below. Yep. And each one of them buys a gift for their siblings.
Come on.
And the benefit of that, one, is, we're teaching that the reason for Christmas time and that type of season is not necessarily the getting, but the giving.
Yes.
And that's something that kind of develops as you mature.
Yep.
But it's so bad with me. I get so excited about the giving that it's really hard for me not to just spill the beans about what my gifts are.
Right.
Like, it takes serious self-control, because I get excited about seeing the face of the person
100%.
who's opening something.
Yes.
So just trying to foster that excitement about how much better it is to give than receive.
Come on.
So we do stuff like that. So just back to the topic of budgeting. Budgeting, we need to view it, especially with stewardship mindset, as an act of worship.
Yes.
It's not just an exercise, it's an act of worship. So when you're doing your budget, are you thinking of it in that way? Is it an act of worship?
That's good. That's good.
Is it an exercise in trust? Because, you would be building a budget on the past. The future, is not guaranteed. None of us are promised tomorrow. Every time we take a breath, it's one that hasn't been promised, but God has gifted to us.
Come on.
So when you're building a budget, think of it as an act of worship. You are trying to be a good steward. You're trying to be found faithful. And you're extending your trust that just like God has provided in the past, he's going to provide in the future. And so that should motivate you to make good decisions grounded in meaning, not just guilt and comparison, those things. Some more practical tips, practically speaking, the earlier you plan, the better deals you can get.
Come on.
Shop early. If you're waiting till the end of November to start Christmas shopping, then it's too little too late. You're going to find yourself making compromises, making bad decisions because you feel rushed. Right. use cash if you can.
Yeah.
We can talk about the use of debt and how there are reasonable uses of debt, but consumer debt, i.e., credit cards, is the worst kind of debt because the rates are astronomical, and they're designed to put you in a place of slavery, where the minimum payment will never pay it off. So just things like shopping early, planning your gifts. My wife is a planner, I'm a financial planner, but she is a household manager and planner. And so thinking ahead of time about even all year long, when your child mentions something, make a note.
Make a note, yes.
When you are, living out your love relationships with your family members, think about what they're excited about, what they're into. My daughter reads all the time. She's 10, but she reads she reads more than I do. And
readers are leaders, man. I'm telling you.
Her knowledge because of that is certainly beyond what I had at 10.
Come on. But my niece, she's 8.
Yeah.
And loves to read.
Yeah.
Like reads chapter books.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
yeah.
I wish at 8 I had that drive.
Yeah.
8, I was like,
But I came across a gift idea for her, and had to do with reading.
Yeah.
I don't think she'll listen to the podcast, so I don't want to spill the beans. But knowing that she's a reader, knowing that that's a part of who she is, knowing that she loves it, I know when a gift idea pops up or I see something, hey, that's a good gift idea. Share it with my wife. Hey, should we get this? What's the cost? Does it fit within our spending budget?
Yes.
Preparing ahead of time allows you to make rational decisions, allows you to get the best deals. So there's, starting early, thinking ahead. And then just making sure that you measure any generosity, whether it's to your family, whether it's to a charitable organization, measure it by the attitude of your heart.
Yes.
Not the price tag, not the number of dollars.
Come on.
We should be generous all year long, but this time of year is a focus. Everybody's trying to get the tax write-offs. Everybody's trying to fund their holidays, but we should establish a regular practice of generosity so that at the end of the year, we talked about guilt. We're not running up to this idea of, wow, man, I've been stingy with my children all year long. Now it's time for me to make up for it.
Come on.
So really what the holidays and the giving season becomes, if you've been generous all year long and now you're giving thought to what you're doing and you're budgeting and being a good steward, you can do things like experiences, like special time, like making memories, and you don't feel obligated to, buy the latest video game system or, which nowadays are hundreds of dollars, or the latest action figure or the latest whatever. Now you've been generous. All their needs have been met throughout the year, and then you've blessed them beyond their needs. And now is an opportunity, one, to focus on the reason for the season. I mean, in my mind, it's Christmas. Thanksgiving is obviously a holiday celebration that has costs associated with it. But, we celebrate Christmas as the coming of our Lord, Jesus Christ, who was an amazing gift from God.
Yes.
He's been generous in Christ. But keeping everything focused, it's not just materialism.
Come on.
There's a spiritual aspect to our celebrations.
Yep.
And there's a way that we can glorify God through the way that we spend and the way that we do things on the holidays.
100%. I think I look at my own life and I look back, and in the moment, if Dad and Mom had not gotten us gifts, we probably would have been disappointed in the moment.
Right.
As a kid, because that's what just kids, that's the way children are. But now that I'm almost 47, like I look back and I see how my dad and mom were intentional in experience, like doing things around the holidays that were more than just material. Like,
right.
I mean, things like going out with our church and singing carols
Yeah.
outside of the folks that were homebound, like
Right.
the older folks in our church,
Yeah.
like investing in our older generation and singing to them and sharing the hope of Christmas. Like those things as a kid, standing out with other students and other parents and other people in our church, doing that together as a group.
Yeah.
Like that's what I remember those things going, and I look back at those going, man, those were good things.
Yeah.
Those were good
100%.
times.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that Christmas what I opened up under the tree.
Yeah.
But I remember being outside their house and singing to them and to those people, and then going and helping, whether it's in a soup kitchen or whatever that happens to be. Those things I remember, and I'm like, as I've gotten older, you look back and say, man, that's where it was at. Right. Not the stuff. And I know in the moment, you're like, I didn't get a ton of presents this year.
Right.
And I see that in my kids when they were little, because they were, we were always fill the tree with stuff, underneath of it. And now as they've gotten older, like last Christmas, there wasn't a ton of gifts, but man, we just hung out and fellowshipped and ate good food and went on hikes and did things like that. And the kids were like, oh, that was so much fun. Right.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
Well, I think don't mishear what I'm saying. I think particularly Christmas time, the advent of Christ, we should feast.
Yes.
We should celebrate.
Fellowship.
We should do it. It should be, one of the biggest celebrations we have, because what we're thinking about, what we're remembering, what we're celebrating is our salvation, the coming of our Lord. So, have the feast.
Yes.
Just do it responsibly. Be a good steward of it.
And you don't have to spend thousands of dollars on food. Like you can make it and have good food and make the house and the feel warm and feel inviting without spending all this money. Like it's not necessary to do that.
Well, and maybe I'm just a good Baptist, but let's talk about fellowship meals with multiple families. We don't have to bear the burden alone.
Yes.
Let's come together. Let's celebrate with our church family.
Yes.
Let's celebrate with our neighbor, like literal neighbor who lives next door. Invite them in, say, hey, we're going to provide the meat, you provide the sides, and we'll get together and we'll fellowship, and it'll be warm, and we'll, talk about the hope of Christ. What a gospel opportunity.
100%.
I'm not saying don't feast. I think we should feast.
100%.
I'm just saying, if you want to do it without anxiety, give it some thought.
Give it thought.
Be a good steward, because if you've thought about these things, you plan these things, now it's not a source of anxiety, and you're free to truly celebrate, because you're focusing on the reason for celebration rather than how it's impacting your bank account.
100%. So we're at our church, we're going through the book of Philippians, and verse 4 of chapter 2 says, let each of you look not only to his own interests,
right?
Because here's what we can tend to do is go, well, okay, I need to just not even focus on myself at all, and I need to focus on just everybody else. That's not what that says. It says, let each of you look not only to his own. So we can look to our own interests, but also look to the interest of others.
Yeah.
And so it's not saying you have to, this weird, masochistic, I'm going to just completely deny everything I ever desire or want, and I'm going to put everybody else first. It's saying, okay, you can look to your own interest, but don't make your interest the priority.
Well, yeah, don't stop there.
Right.
Right.
You take care of yourself, sure. But then out of that should flow, how can I look to the interests of Lucas and his family and those that are around me, my neighbors? How can I look to Mike? How can I look to Ken? How can I help these guys out? What can I do to honor this is Romans 12:10. Outdo one another in showing honor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we always want to outdo each other. Oh, my kid's better than your kid. My house is better than your house. We always want to do the comparison game. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
Paul says, okay, you want to play the game of outdoing each other? Outdo each other in showing honor.
Yeah.
Like, what would it look like if the church and Christians in general did that for each other instead of, okay, I'm gonna try to outdo you, but I'm gonna outdo you in showing you honor.
Right.
What does that look like? That doesn't mean I'm gonna buy you stuff.
Yeah.
It means I'm gonna show honor where honor is due.
Right.
So
yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think all of this kind of focuses on making sure everything has a purpose behind it.
Yes.
We're not just haphazardly making purchases. We're not just haphazardly decorating. There's a motive and a purpose behind what we're doing.
Yes.
End of year, we talked about charitable giving and faith-based giving. It's a worthwhile endeavor to take your holiday budget that you've now, after what we've talked about, you've spent the time, you looked at last year's spending, you've set some categories, maybe you've given some thought as to what kind of gifts you're going to give. Set aside a portion of your holiday budget, whether it's time, whether it's money, you mentioned this already, and give to charities, to your local church, to local families, to global missions. And here's even better gift that you can give. Involve your children and your family in the process.
Come on.
Because, we can talk about leaving dollars to family. One of the guys I follow, Ron Blue, he talks about, it's not a question of whether or not, the question is the next steward prepared?
Yeah.
So, at the end of your life, when you're leaving whatever inheritance that you have to your children,
come on,
are they prepared to receive it? And the only way that they'll be prepared is intentional sharing of the process, is intentional communicating of values and motives. I was just talking about this recently. We live in a modern era where most giving is electronic.
Yes.
Which is convenient.
Sure.
But the consequence is our children don't see it.
Yep. They don't see them put the money in the plate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how can you involve your children, your family members in your act of giving, in your act of generosity? Can you work with them to decide what organizations to give to?
Yep.
Can they participate in the act of giving? In church, whether you pass the plate or drop it off on the way out, can they participate some way so that they have a tangible reminder that this is an act of giving and it's happening? Because the danger is, mom and dad do all this giving and they're charitable all the time, but nobody see. And don't misunderstand me. It's not for
we're not
show.
Supposed to show. All right, I get it. But our kids do need to see because we're teaching them.
Because you don't want to get, your children become adults and you ask them, hey, what were your parents generous? And you're like, I don't know.
Maybe.
I really don't know. So being intentional about sharing those values in that process.
100%.
How can your giving, your holiday giving, reflect your faith and your values? I think that's important to consider.
Love it. That's great.
And then the last thing I had to talk about is, it's October.
Yes.
And we're talking about this. But, how can you prepare for next year? You've done this process now. We've talked about it, budgeting, looking at spending, making sure there's purpose behind what you're doing, involving your children, involving your family, focusing on meaning and not just stuff, avoiding consumerism, avoiding guilt. How can you make next year one filled with peace and purpose? And I think the way you do that, or one way you can do that, is start in January. You get through the holiday season, beginning of the year, sometimes you have some extra time off. What a great opportunity to plan for next holiday season. So start a sinking fund. You know what you just spent.
Sure.
You can assume that you'll probably spend about the same. Start a sinking fund. So we could talk about calculations, but you put money either in an investment or a high interest savings account that will grow to what you need by the end of the year, or you divide the total by 12 months, and each month you're putting a piece in and it grows to what you need by the end of the year. Come on. What a way to have peace. You just set it and forget it.
Forget it.
And you're prepared.
That's our plan for 2026 is because we've not been faithful to do that very well. We put stuff away in certain pockets and places, but to be intentional and just say, okay, I'm not even going to think about it. It's just going to be automatic and just go.
I mean, what a sense of relief when December arrives and you don't have to, scrounge and figure out where the dollars are going to come to
this money from. How am I going to get there? Yep.
It's already there because you planned ahead. That's stewardship. That's being faithful.
Yes.
And I think, along with preparing for the expense, reflect on how the last holiday season worked. What worked? What didn't work? Any changes we need to make? Should we do things differently? We bought X amount of gifts this year, only did one experience. Or maybe next year we try an experience instead of gifts. I mean, there's no biblical command to celebrate the holidays in this way.
Right.
So it's okay to go through trial and error. Try it one way, make an adjustment. It doesn't have to be polished and complete in the perfect way the first time. So don't delay starting it.
I think
changes.
Say that again. Don't delay in starting it because you don't think you're going to do it right.
Right.
So many people don't ever get anything done because they're like, well, crud, I'm going to screw it up. You probably will screw it up.
Yeah.
I mean, like just,
right.
I mean, I'm like one of those guys that let me see it in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So write these things down. Make a goal. What's your goal for next year? Like, what do you want to do for your family? Do you want to do experience? Do you want to, like, one of our goals is I would love to see Christmas in New York City.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah.
And just I'm a big jazz geek. I love jazz. I would love to go to a jazz bar in New York City and just go experience that for one night with my kids. Because some of my kids are jazz fans. My 15-year-old's not, but
yeah.
But just to experience that and see Rockefeller Center and things like that. And I think setting a goal and putting it in writing. And maybe you and your spouse sit down and go have dinner together, and you get out a notebook and be like, hey, what do we want to experience? What do we want to do? What do we want to be intentional with this next year? And we just write down those goals personally.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's, I don't know, that's just me.
Yeah.
That's my head.
Well, and all of it, like we started with, needs to be filtered through stewardship, biblical financial principles, being found faithful.
Come on.
If you are working with that as your filter, and you start, see, that's the danger of expecting to have it perfect.
Yes.
Is that if that's your expectation, you're never going to start.
Never. It's going to be bumpy.
But the fact that you're thinking about these things, the fact that you're trying to be intentional, the fact that you're doing your best to plan, these things are honoring to God, and that is what it means to be found faithful.
Love it.
So, yeah, I think, a worthy question is, what's one step you can take today to prepare to have a more peaceful holiday season, either this year, I mean, it's October, you still got time on your side, but, for next year, what's one step you can take? Take the step. Don't wait. And, the fact of the matter is, I think your original post asked, let's have a podcast on how to deal with anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if you have your finances sorted out, your budget for the holidays, your amount of anxiety may not disappear completely. We still have to deal with relationships and seeing people we don't see all the time.
Yep.
But it will certainly be less if you don't have to worry about that.
Come on.
You can focus on celebrating. You can focus on the reason for the season. You can keep your eye on, a spiritual view of holiday celebration, of spending, of stewardship, and you won't have to worry about that.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. So good. Brother, thank you so much for
Yes,
coming
sir.
on here. So people are interested in wanting, maybe somebody's saying, you know what, I do want to get a financial plan together.
Yeah.
Where do they go?
So you can go to our website, revofinancial.com. I'm also on Facebook, on YouTube, some other places. They can call our office, 918-336-7877. Talk to our wonderful staff, get something on the calendar, and we can meet up and help figure out what we can do to help you.
I'm going to make you a promise. It's not as painful as you think it's going to be. In fact, Lucas and his team make it incredibly smooth. Like, it's like, I even got a coffee mug.
Yeah, and our focus is, to us, clients aren't just numbers.
Come on, yes.
We're there to help give set the framework for how you should think about your finances and walk with you through your life, because where you are today is not where you'll be tomorrow, and we're there to help give you all the info you need to make wise decisions and walk with you through the whole process.
And there's no pressure, there's no arm twisting. There's like, you got to get this product, you got to do this. Like, it's what's best for your family.
Absolutely.
What's best for you and your children, your wife, and your family. So I appreciate that, and everything's through a biblical lens.
Yeah,
and so
that's our ultimate goal, is helping others do the most for the kingdom of God with what they've been entrusted with, what they've been tasked with stewarding. And so, that means stewarding your family well, stewarding your opportunities well, we love talking about that stuff, and it's a big part of what we do.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Awesome.
Revo Financial is registered as an investment advisor with the SEC and only transacts business in states where it is properly notice filed or is excluded from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean that the advisor has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Always consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation.
Revo Financial is a sponsor of the Caleb Gordon podcast.